You're welcome. I'm proudly sponsored by Starbucks.
I see this. Whoever wrote that, I'm sure, was very, very excited.
Yes.
So
Oh, you're drinking my favorite.
Oh, that's my favorite. Every
Bravo.
single day I
Is
have
it
one
is
of
it
those.
sugar free?
No.
Oh, see, I do sugar free.
They have sugar-free Fultons?
Yeah, they do.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I had to clear it with my cardiologist.
Oh.
Yeah. He didn't clear it.
He didn't.
I still drink
I still drink it.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
I'm sorry.
So
I've reached the age where all I do is talk about my health.
So I know you can't tell us much.
Yes.
But what can you tell us about the new season, other than a lot of people die?
I don't think a lot of people. Well, yeah, a lot of people die. Here's what I would say. I think obviously the events that happened at the end of season 6 inform what happens season 7. For me, the most fun is that it's the most proactive my hero has ever been. I created this character who was probably too deep a thinker for the world he lived in and was sort of handed the mess of previous leadership. So he was, Boone, keep it down! Sorry.
You gotta keep it in check.
So what was I saying? Oh yeah, leadership. And so now, so he tended to be a character that was always sort of reacting to the chaos around him and trying to put things back together. And this season he really comes out, kind of with blinders on and singular in purpose, and is the inciter of the chaos. So it's interesting for me creatively because it's almost like writing a new character, and I think Charlie's just crushing it. He's having a blast, and it's really good work. So.
Harris already told us that there will be some oversized episodes.
There'll be some what?
Oversized episodes.
I know.
How long will the finale be? Do you have something in mind for that?
6 hours.
6.5 hours.
So we're hoping.
Nicholas Nickleby. Somewhere along season 4 or 5, it became very difficult for me to turn in episodes on time. As the mythology got bigger, as relationships got deeper, as the connective tissue to all these characters and situations became more complicated. Our show has a lot of riding in it, and motorcycles are a signature of the show. It became very difficult to contain it in those, whatever it is, 42 or 43 minutes we get. So at some point during one of those seasons, I went to the network and said, I don't know what to cut. I really don't. And I think that's when they became aware of where things were going, and they made some internal moves, and ultimately, at one point, I just got a note that said, "Don't worry about cutting time," and I was like, "Okay." And then, being the good obsessive personality that I am, I just continued to abuse that, so. I haven't turned on an episode in on time in like 3 seasons, so.
Well, your fans appreciate it.
And so I wouldn't say they're not all 90 minutes this year. We have a lot of like the premiere I think is long, 90 minutes at least, and 2 and 3 are like supersized. They're like an extra. And next time I do air quotes, just slap me in the back of the head, okay?
I do too.
There are 15 minutes longer, I think. So it's an extra act. So they're like an hour 15. So I would say they're all going to be larger than they're supposed to be. I don't plan that. I'm lucky now that I can really tell the story I want to tell. The page counts are always the same. The shooting schedule is always the same. It's just ultimately what lands on screen and what can go and what can't go that determines it.
So what's it been like for you writing this final season? Katie said that you put it plain and loose a bit when you with structure, but how do you stay true to kind of your vision of the show in the beginning as you're going about writing this final season?
One of the things I was very cognizant of coming into this season is that I didn't want it to feel like a final season, that I wanted it to feel like the next season, and hopefully when we finish that the mythology will feel complete, so there will be no more story to tell, I think that's an important thing to do. So I have a sense of, like every season, mile markers where I want things to end, and then but most of that has to deal with tone, theme, emotionality, relationships. Like I have a sense of where that I want it to go, so that enables me to then to work with my writers, and as we create these episodes, our A stories, which are the big sort of narrative engine in each episode, it tweaks the arc of the series a little bit, the arc of the show, and you pile up enough of those, and you have a lot of tweaks, so that it never really looks like what you imagined it would look like. And to me, that's the fun part. That it really happens organically. It happens collaboratively. I butt up this season very closely up to production, which allows me, as I'm writing episode 7, I'm working in post on episode 4, so I get to see, what characters are popping, what relationships are working, what's not working, and really infuse that and use that collaboration as I move forward in the writing process. So that this season, in terms of it being the final season, is essentially what I do every season. So.
You stick with that collaborative nature when you go moving forward with production, seeing watching relationships.
You mean in other shows? Oh, absolutely. I know there's I think the HBO model allows writers to sort of write all the episodes and then shoot all the episodes. I don't know what I'd do in that circumstance. I mean, I'm sure I can make that adjustment, but I've been doing it, we did it the same way on The Shield. I've been writing and working this way for 13, 14 years now. So to sort of shift creative process like that would be, would be a change. My intent, and if I continue to work, with the people at FX and 20th, which I will, that will continue to be the process and the model, because that's how we do TV. So.
Can you tell us anything about your next TV show?
I can tell you what everybody sort of knows. It takes place in the 1300s. It's about an executioner, and it's sort of like this show in that the characters and the situations are fictitious, but the world around them is real and historically accurate, So I take those situations and I sort of plug them into the reality of that period the same way we do on the show. And my plan is to write that pilot as I finish up on Sons, and I'll probably write it in November, and the network has allowed me to keep a few writers on, so we'll probably jump into writing the first few episodes, and then we'll shoot it in the spring.
What about actors? Will Katie join you?
I don't know yet. We're still trying to figure out the logistics, because it's in the UK, and it's a long. I'm there like 6 months, and we have kids, so we're just trying to figure out the logistics. Hi, Katie. We're just trying to figure out the logistics. So if we can make it work, we will.
All right, thank you.
I was just going to ask, in working the last several seasons and stuff, were there any stories, things that you wanted to have added to the show for time?
Oh. Not so much for time, because they've been very generous, and my actors love it too, because the first few seasons when I had to cut for time, a lot of scenes ended up in the deleted scenes section of the DVD, and in fact, I think it was Boone. There's a great scene he has in episode 6, and he's like, "Oh, it'll probably be cut." I was like, when was the last time I cut a scene from an episode? It hasn't happened in 3 seasons. So in terms of time, no. I've been very lucky. I built up a lot of trust with my network and my studio. They give me a lot of freedom. I bounce stuff off of John Landgraf all the time, because I need a little reality check. And but I don't feel like there's anything or any story that I wanted to tell that I wasn't allowed to, or didn't have the opportunity to tell. So.
Thank you very much.